After being defeated in 3 elections, former metallurgist Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva comes to power, defeating José Serra in the second round. At the end of the last class, when we listed the merits and success of the real plan, I called attention to some problems that we still needed to solve. Remember? Hunger and profound inequality were often exposed in newspapers and magazines circulating across the country, and as I mentioned to you, it was not at all pleasant to see. It is in this context that the PT candidates' proposals are embraced by the majority of voters, taking the former trade unionist, after consecutive defeats, finally to the Planalto Palace. As we saw in last week's graphs, the country's economic situation in 2002 presented an extremely unfavorable moment. We experienced high unemployment rates, not to mention the frequent visits to the IMF, which increased our indebtedness. And it is in this context that Lula receives the presidential sash in 2003, beginning his first term. To calm those who feared a radical government, Lula writes a letter in action, committing to democracy and the fundamentals of the economy. For those who feared a radical shift, he committed himself, among other things, to the macroeconomic tripod implemented by FHC. Nothing less than the commitment to a floating exchange rate, the inflation target and the fiscal target. Gradually, the government brought different sectors of the economy to its side, which were represented in key names in the government. The conciliation was so great that even the party that had rivaled the PT since 1989 gained some space in the government, as in the case of Henrique Meirelles himself, who was affiliated with the Tucano party. Throughout the government, a series of corruption scandals dragged important names in the party. Names like José de Issue, the all-powerful Antonio Pelucci and José Genuino by Ricardo Bezoin, that is, the morality discourse that the Workers' Party supported when it was in opposition, seems to have been thrown into the mud by those leaders who were denounced.